Is your side hustle draining you? We're going to talk about that in today's video. Today, we're going to talk about the energy audit, why your side hustle is draining you and how to fix it. So, most people think, okay, well, I have a strategy problem. And they think, okay, well, I'm going to add on more things. I'm going to buy a course. I'm going to download some freebies. I'm going to download these templates. But then they wonder, like, is my business running on fumes? Why am I exhausted all the time? So I'm going to give you a 4-step plan, questions to ask yourself. It's going to flow throughout. So make sure you grab your notepads and ask. I want you to pause the video and ask yourself these questions so that you can leave with the clarity that you need to audit your energy, to remove that hustle from that so-called side hustle. I hate that it's called side hustle because we really need to remove the word hustle from our language, but we're going to jump into 4 points. Now, if you see me looking at my notes, I want to make sure that I'm staying on point, that my video is not too long, and that I am giving you specifically what I want you to learn in this video. So if your side hustle feels like a second job that you hate, you want to stay tuned for this because you don't want to be in a space where you're working a 9 to 5 and then you're also working a side hustle. That's tragic, like literally. That's tragic. So you don't want to do that. So here are the 4 pillars. We're going to jump right into it. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. 4 pillars that you're going to go through, slowly ask yourself these questions. The first one is the competence trap. We feel like we can monetize anything that we do. Like we work a 9 to 5, we do workflows, we do spreadsheets, we put out tons of fires. Anything that we feel like we do at work, we think that we can do not at home, but do for our business or at home in essence. But you got to think about, are these things exhausting you at work? Are these things stressing you out at work? Why would you even think about bringing them into your 9 to 5? I mean, into your business. So last week in one of my videos, I spoke about taking a sheet, printing out a sheet with about 50 lines when you're at work. And this is for those of you that are working a 9 to 5, writing down everything you do that day or each day. I did this when I was working a 9 to 5 back in 2014. I left my 9 to 5 in 2016, but in 2014, I was in a coaching program, a year-long coaching program, where they taught us to write down specifically what we're doing every single day at work. Because back then, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my business as far as launching it. I was just creating a lot of random digital courses based on what I thought would work, and with social media, because a lot of people asked me about social media. But then I thought, okay, let me pull some of these skills that I've had from work. So I wrote down everything that I did every single day, and I was able to transfer the things that I loved into my business. Not all of them, just the things that you love. But you want to make sure that it's not something that exhausts you, something that doesn't want you to curl up on the couch and take a nap by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You want to make sure that it's something that gives you your energy. Make sure you audit your energy. So that one, it doesn't have a question, but it's just something that you want to think about. Sit and think about. Take a minute if you want to pause this video. Think about how your energy feels with the things that you started putting into your business or pouring into your business from your 9 to 5 or from your other experiences. If you need a clarity on your income, I want you to go ahead and download a guide that I created last week. It's called "What Can I Monetize Right Now?" So it's a guide that'll give you clarity on your income and how to move forward with it, because I know a lot of you feel like you're all over the place with what your creating as your side hustle to bring in income. So you want to make sure you're doing just one thing at a time, especially when you're just getting started. You can always add more, of course. I've been in business now since 2014 for my online business. So it's been about 12 years. So I've been able to add tiers on to my business. But when you're just getting started, I definitely wouldn't do all of that. You're doing too much if you're doing all of that. So number 2 is identify your energy leaks. So you want to look for those quiet leaks that creep in over time. So, for example, if you are overloading your to-do list, and this is me sometimes, I have to say, sometimes my to-do list it looks like one of those long scrolls that people roll out. Like it's super long. So my to-do list, sometimes I will have 10, 15 things on it each day. But what I've started doing lately is making sure I don't go over 10 things, but 7 of those 10 things have to be something that's super quick for me to do. Now, 2 or 3 of those things, they can be a big project that I need to take maybe an hour or 2 a day. But other than that, anything else that goes onto my to-do list needs to be something quick that I can do like within 5 or 10 minutes so that I'm not exhausted by the end of the day. So this it's going to be for the questions for this one. We're going to be two parts. So it's going to be the fuel question. This question is the question that gives you life. So you make sure you want to stop and listen to this, pause it, and write down your answer. So if this is a question, if I had to do this task for 4 hours straight, would I still have energy or would I feel depleted? So for example, in my 9 to 5, I used to have to do a lot of spreadsheets all the time. And it was tedious. It was something that I knew how to do, like literally with my eyes closed, but it wasn't something that I loved. So if I had to do that for 4 hours straight, it was throughout my day in the 9 to 5. It wasn't all day. But if I had to sit at home and work on spreadsheets for 4 hours straight, I probably would snatch my hair out. I probably would go crazy. So you want to make sure it's something that doesn't deplete you. It's something that gives you energy. It's something that gives you life. The next thing is the friction question. So this is part 2 of number 2. The friction question. This is what slows you down. So this is a question you want to ask yourself. Am I doing this because it's the most direct path to my goal or to my result? Am I doing this to procrastinate? A lot of us are busy being busy. Like we have to let go of that. If you're busy just trying to scratch things off of that to-do list, when those things are not in alignment with your goal, you're procrastinating. You're busy being busy. Like for example, yesterday, I caught myself, even though I got a lot done yesterday and I even had time to go grocery shopping, I didn't have to place an order. I caught myself going through and cleaning randomly, doing things that I normally would do on Sundays. And I looked at it because I wasn't done with my to-do list then. And I stopped and thought to myself, Knifey, this is just procrastination. Knifey, you could have cleaned the front of the stove to this evening or another day. Knifey, you could have swept the hallway later on today or something like that, or after your to-do list is done. So I would stop, or yesterday I stopped myself from procrastinating because I had that thought, because I know what to look for now. So that's why I create videos like this, because I want to make sure you know what to look for and what to stop yourself from doing. A lot of us procrastinate by saying yes to everything. A lot of us procrastinate by answering every phone call that comes through, whether it's a friend or a family member or whoever it is. If it's not in alignment with your goal, like it's no need for you to answer that call to gossip for 2 hours and then you're off track the entire day. So that's a form of procrastination. So number 3, the 1 hour a day reality check. We're all adults now. We're all grown. Most of us have kids. Most of us, or you, have husbands. I'm not married. But a lot of you work 9 to 5s as well. And I can guarantee you every single one of us has bills. Every one of us. If you're watching this and you're an adult, you have bills. So you need to find something that a space in your day, which I call a power hour. And I use this with my clients sometimes. Find your power hour throughout that day. It's the time where you have the most energy, where you can get that big thing done or those money making activities. So just say, for example, for me, my peak hour is about anywhere in between noon and 2 o'clock, because between the time I get up in the morning, which is about 8 a.m. sometimes, until about 10 or 11, I'm getting things done, but my energy is not at its peak. And after 2, I'm like going into that shutdown mode. Like when we're working a 9 to 5 and you're looking at the clock, like it's almost 2 hours to get off or 3 hours to get off. But between 12 and 2 for me, I knew you normally do my power hour between that time during the week. It depends on if I have client calls scheduled or things like that. But you want to make sure you choose a time of the day. Just say, for example, you have a to-do list with 3 major things on it for that day. Make sure you schedule those 3 major things during that power hour. Not when you get up in the morning, you're going to be dragging, you're not going to be completing it, or not in the evening when you know that the kids are going to be home, you're going to be fixing dinner and trying to relax. You're not going to get it done at all. And for those of you that work a 9 to 5, if you can't do it during that time, what I did with my 9 to 5, when I worked a 9 to 5, I would get up. Literally, I had to be on the train going into, I lived in Chicago then. I live in Tampa now, but I lived in Chicago then. So I would have to be on the train going into downtown Chicago. My train left at 7:11 a.m. But I wanted to work on my business before I worked on somebody else's business. So what I did was, because at that time my parents lived with me, and I knew when I got home in the evenings, TVs were going to be blasting, people were going to be laughing and talking, and I wouldn't be able to get videos done. So I would get up at 4:30 a.m. and record my videos and get those done for the day. Whatever videos I had to do for courses or for content, I would get it done at that time. And then during lunch at work, I had an hour lunch. Well, I can take either 30 minutes or an hour. Most times I took that hour. And I would get client calls done. I would get any major project that I needed to get done during my lunchtime. I even recorded podcast episodes during my lunchtime, or I was guest on podcasts. I would schedule them during my lunchtime to make sure I got my peak hour of work in, or my power hour of work in. So you got to make sure you're choosing the right one. So this is a question you need to ask yourself. This is the hour. You just saying, this is the hour your brain is the sharpest, or just say, what hour is my brain the sharpest when you're doing fuel related tasks. So what hour during the day is your brain the sharpest, basically? So like I mentioned, for me, between 12 and 2. Number 4, this is the final one: systems over survival. We're always, when we don't have systems in our business, we're in survival mode, because we're always trying to figure out where the next client will come from, where the next customer will come from, if we're selling products, where that next sale will come from. So you want to make sure that you have on your to-do calendar, like I said, 10 things per day or less if they're small. You don't want to have to make 100 decisions a day. You don't want to have to um, multitask. A lot of back in the day, and I'm going to say back in the day, back when I was working a 9 to 5, um, multitasking was always a good thing when you're putting it on your resume. But now it's not, because you find when you're multitasking, you are jumping from one task, you're getting started, you're getting into it, and then you stop, and then you go to the next one, you get into it, you get started, and you go back to the other one. You're like jumping back and forth, but you're not getting anything done. So for me, what I do is I try to cut back on all of the decisions that I have to make each day, and I cut back on multitasking. So for me, for example, on Mondays, so sorry if it's loud. I live close to an expressway, but if I on Mondays. So Mondays I do um, most of my admin work. I do all of my client emails. I do all of my clients' newsletters for the week, and things like that. Tuesday, which is today, I record videos. Tuesday is my video day. So I do videos for YouTube, TikTok, whatever my video content is. I get up, I fix myself, fix my face in the morning because I know it's video day. And I make sure I get all of my videos done for the week on Tuesday. On Wednesday, it's all about creation. I also have an Etsy store, so I create for that Etsy store. I create content for that Etsy store. I create content for my print on demand course, which is a course for ladies that want to learn how to do print on demand to complement their income. So I always make Wednesday is Etsy day. Thursday and Friday are client content day. So I create content for women that are very busy, that don't have the time to do content or just don't like to do content. They want to be visible on social media without having to do the content. So Thursday and Friday is content. Saturday is my in the morning on Saturdays, like a few hours on Saturdays, is a research day. It is research, organization day, and planning for the upcoming week. Sundays is my off day. That's it. So make sure you're putting systems in place. So right now all of my systems are in place. If you're in a space where you're needing to start doing emails, building your list, make sure you say, okay, well, Monday is the day I'm going to work on my landing pages. Tuesday is the day I'm going to work on my email funnels. Like, so plan it out, and make sure you're batching things throughout your week. So you want to automate or delegate. So if you are in a space where you do not know how to automate, I know a lot of you say you're not techie, even though we have YouTube University out here. Everything is step by step with YouTube. So you can delegate it to someone else. And I know a lot of you don't have the time or the capacity to do it because you're focused on the main aspects of your business. A lot of my clients come to me for email funnels, for social media content, for ebooks and things like that, because they don't have the time to do it. So delegate it. Get somebody else to do it. Have somebody take that off of your hands, create it, get it done for you, and package it up and send it over to you, which is what I do for my clients. So what I'm going to do is drop a link in the description for you to grab the freebie. So it is the sheet about asking, where you can ask yourself, what can I monetize now? Also, for those of you that are in a space where you are like, I need more than that, I already know where I need to monetize, but I feel like I'm stuck. If you feel like you're in a place of friction where you're not making income from your business, I have a 20-minute CEO alignment session. It's a free session. I will drop the link down below so that you can grab it and get your spot for that 20-minute session so that you can jump on and we can talk about your situation and talk about one thing that you need to get done right now, whether it's money flowing in, whether it's completion of a project that you've been putting off that you know is going to build your business. Whatever it is, go ahead and schedule a call. I'll drop the link below. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. If you have anything that's outside of this video, that I didn't speak about in this video, go ahead and comment because that helps me to know what to create for future content. And then go ahead and take a look at my latest videos as well. So stay tuned. I'm going to be going live here on this channel at least once a week. So make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss the alerts. All right. Talk to you soon.